Welcome back to Ugly Truck. Today, the saga of the 63 K10 continues.
Okay, so we're back on this 63 Chevy. This thing is fighting us left and right. Everything that we normally do to these things, it goes smoothly most times, is not going smoothly.
No.
So I hope you watched the other video, the beginning of this one, just to get the engine to crank over. Very difficult on this one. We spent a lot of time doing it. I got the oil pan back on it. Rod's torqued down again, and you know, I go to put oil back in the oil pan and it leaks. Okay, and it doesn't leak from the gasket or anything, it's got a little pinhole rusted through it. Okay,
yeah.
The truck is from Arizona, it's not rusted out at all.
Yeah,
but the engine just seems to be the only thing that rusted on it.
Yeah,
it's driving me crazy. Okay. So, on top of that, we met some of the people from the history of this truck this weekend. We heard about Oscar, who was the gentleman who purchased this truck back in 1963.
Yeah.
We'll talk about him probably at the end of the thing, right? The end of the video.
Yeah.
And hopefully we'll be enjoying some tacos.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
we met Bruce, which was his son.
Yep.
And he told us a little bit of the history of this. So unfortunately, then that makes it even more important for us to get it going.
Yes.
All right. So at the point we're at right now, we do have it to where it turns over. It turns over really tight. It's like, I think the piston skirts maybe have a buildup of rust around them because we can see the cylinder walls. Top and bottom, the way we've done it.
Yeah. And
we can see them, and they're okay. But you bring the engine around, and then it hits a tight spot, and it cranks. So it cranks over slow, and I'm worn out on turning it over with a pry bar.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is, I already bought battery cables for this thing, and the battery cables that are on it seem to be okay. So we are going to add another battery to it, okay, just temporarily, just to get this thing to crank over. We're going to make sure it has spark, and then we're going to, you know, do our usual. We'll bottle feed it, give it some gas, and see if we can't fire it up. And hopefully that heat and the violence of what goes on inside of an engine, maybe that'll free up some of that stuff. It'll either lock it up or it'll free it up. So we've got a 50-50 chance either way.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to get started on adding another battery to it, which is just a matter of putting another a positive battery cable to the starter solenoid. And I'll just kind of makeshift put the battery up here. And then another ground, of course, off that battery. We'll probably go right to the same ground because it seems like a good spot.
Cool.
Okay. I already cut the fuel lines because I have turned this thing over a bunch and I just didn't want to draw a bunch of fuel out, you know, through the fuel lines in case it did start to pump.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it does have some kind of liquid in it, but it's not fuel anymore.
Yeah.
So, all right.
Sounds good.
Okay. So, do you need to take a break or?
Oh, I think I'm good.
Okay. Let's just do it. All right, negative disconnected on this battery, so now we can, we'll work on putting a new positive on that. And these cables are bigger. Okay?
Bigger.
So this truck, these are the original cables, which they're pretty cool. They have this cool just clamp style.
Huh.
And they just force down over the post. You hardly ever see that you know, still from 1963. But in the other one's the same way. You see that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Huh.
So a 1963 truck that still has its original battery cables on it. You don't see that very often. But those are 6 gauge, and these that I bought for it, they are 4 gauge. So if we put a nice, bigger, heavier duty battery cable on it, running down there, it's going to give that starter a real nice chance of having the amps that are required to get that thing to turn over a little bit better.
Yeah, give it some juice.
Yep. I got the negative disconnected, all right. You never want to mess around with something like this without the battery disconnected. You might notice the grease that has been coming out of that cylinder.
Oh, I thought you sneezed.
No, it's not.
Huh.
That's grease.
Oh.
So I got a positive one added to the starter, okay? And it's gonna reach up here just fine. Let's add the negative. Oh man, wait until people find out what we found out what the air tank was for.
We thought, because we knew they used it for camping, so we thought an air tank like, oh, your tire's low. But it turns out...
It was for an air horn.
Yeah. And they said that's why there's these holes in the hood here, because they mounted an air horn to the hood. But this thing, I guess, was built as an off-road vehicle. It was made to go into the desert or wherever you wanted to go, and they used it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, here we go. Okay. So, doing this thing, I'm going to have 3 batteries hooked up to this thing. I'm going to do this battery, which is a new one of my other ones that I have sitting around here. Then we'll set another one over there and we'll just hook it up with jumper cables so it'll have a little bit more juice. And then we'll even hook the battery charger onto it.
Yes.
Okay? That'll give it some help. Okay?
Yeah.
So the other battery. Positive.
Extreme energy, man.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, this is just temporary, right? Does it look temporary? Oh, man.
I don't know.
All right. So, here we go. That reaches. I don't know. Maybe we'll get that to sit in there a little better somehow, but it ain't gonna matter to fire it up, right?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so hopefully we have some juice, enough juice to get this thing to turn over well enough. So what we need to do next is see if it has spark. Okay. And do you know what happened to the
I looked
coil
for
wire?
it. I was going to ask you the same thing.
Because we need the coil wire.
Yeah. Here's a coil wire. Ooh, I think that's it. Is that it?
Yeah, that's
Holy
it.
smokes.
Good thinking.
Yeah, it was under that cart with that stick and that strap.
Oh. Well, that's the stick cart.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's see if the points are opening and closing. Okay. If you want to see if the points are opening and closing, the points are just a source to ground. Okay.
Okay.
So that means if you put your test light on the positive side of the battery, if the points just happen to be on in a closed position, the light would light up right now. Okay? But it's not. So if they were closed, the light would light up. But we'll crank the engine over. I got my remote starter. That'll make the points either open and close. And if they do close, then that light will flash. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So here we go.
Okay.
So nothing, right?
Nothing.
Okay. So our points are not closing. It doesn't mean they're not closing, but they are not making contact. Okay.
Okay.
It's when you see people cleaning them with an emery board or something like that, they're just cleaning the contact between them. Ooh, we're also I don't know the firing order of these motors, so we're gonna have to look that up. That'll be fun. That'll be an opportunity to use the internet.
Ooh, the internet. I've heard about that.
Yes. Okay, so that's the rotor. Looks nice. The points do not look nice. All right, let's file them.
Okay.
If I had a little emery board, that would be nice. I don't have anything cool like that.
I have a nail file.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What do you have a nail file for?
That's how I keep my teeth sharp.
I wondered. All right, so it looks like it's closed right now. So if it was closed by chance, then it would light up. So it does not. Let's see if we've got power on this side. We just don't on that side, okay? So I'll just use a little file. Get in there. Okay. All right. So it may still be on, it looks like it's probably on a lobe that is holding it open. So I'm going to try it again. So my light. Still nothing.
Nothing.
What's the deal? So why are points not working?
What's the deal, man?
Alright, I can see that it is down. There we go.
Yay!
Alright. Yay! So, alright, so watch this. Alright?
Oh.
You. Okay, so now it's working.
Yay.
Right? Whew, listen to that baby turn over.
Ooh.
Jeez.
It is turning over.
Yeah.
I wish it was better, but it is turning over.
Yeah. Alright, so before I go through the trouble of doing the wires up for this ignition coil, I'm going to find out if this ignition coil works first, okay?
That'd be good.
So in order to do that, I'm going to put positive voltage to that side of it, negative, and I'm going to touching it to the ground and then disconnecting it, it would create a spark, okay? If the coil was any good, but it is not good. All right, so let's try this original coil that was on there. Hey, look at that. Did you see it?
Oh, there it goes.
Okay, so the original coil there, it will produce a spark,
Cool.
all right? It didn't look like the greatest spark, but we'll see. Okay, Okay, so there we go. Negative. I wonder why he abandoned that coil and went with one that doesn't work. Okay. All right.
Cool.
So, spark plugs?
Sure.
Oh, let's see if a spark plug sparks
Oh.
first. Yeah. All right. So, let's see if number one spark plug will fire. Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. I don't see anything, do you?
No.
Okay, so let's see if the points are still working. Okay, so the points are still working. That coil might not be good enough. Okay, it had kind of a weak spark.
Yeah.
All right, so let's put a different coil on it.
Okay.
See if that does it.
Ooh. See, you went with the blue.
It's easier on the eyes.
Yeah.
So that coil was not used for a reason, I'm sure, so it probably was shot. Alright, so I'm going to put some power to that coil. Okay. I'm going to add the other battery to it to give it a little bit more help.
Okay.
All right. Cool. Alright, so we'll watch the spark plug there. We'll see if we get a spark. Alright. I saw spark, right?
Awesome.
I heard spark coming from something else too. Oh yeah, the other wires are loose.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
I think that the fuel pump's trying to pump too, because it smells like gross gas when you pump or when you turn it over.
Right. Yeah, I'll cut this
Okay.
line
Yeah.
right there so we don't have fuel that can actually pump out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
So.
Or you just put a hose pincher on it. I guess.
No, a hose pincher is not going to work
Why?
because the line is too old and brittle. Okay? So you just cut it, get rid of it.
Oh.
And a lot of people don't have hose pinchers and fancy things like that.
You use a chip clip.
Yeah, but then chip clip would do it probably.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got spark. And we got this thing turning over. As long as it'll turn over with compression also,
Yeah.
then we'll be okay. But number 5, the worst cylinder ever. Do you remember the firing order? Did you write it down?
I think it's 153624, but I'm gonna double check. 153624.
This is a cast iron head. I wouldn't use an impact normally, but I'm tired of working on this engine.
That impact's not.
No, it's not over tightening by any means.
No.
So, as long as they're seated down, that's what I want. So the firing order is 1,
5, 3, 6.
All right, so clockwise 1, 5, which is our problem cylinder.
Yep.
Okay, what's the next one?
3,
3. Okay. Next one?
6. That's the one at the back.
Okay. And the next one?
2.
2. That would be the one that's second back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then is 3 the last one? Or
4.
4? All right. So we're going to have spark. We know that.
Cool.
But we're adding compression now to this. So that's another something that's going to drain on the starter. So I'm going to add another battery to it with jumper cables.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, all right, so at this point, we know we have spark now, right? I've got 3 batteries hooked up to this thing. One of them, this one's directly hooked up to the starter. The other one's down here on the floor. And it's just jumper cabled up to this one to give it some more juice, because I don't know if you could tell on video, but it cranks over kind of slow.
Yeah.
Okay? And I've never cranked it over with spark plugs in it, but hopefully it'll fire up.
Yep.
Okay. It's in neutral. We know that because
Yes.
we pushed it in, so we don't have to worry about starting up and running through the back of the shop.
Yeah.
Right? And I have a thing of gas. So we're going to bottle feed it, so we know that we're going to put some gas in it.
Okay.
So the 3 things you need, we have them all. So technically, if this thing will rock over good enough, it should fire up. Okay?
Okay.
I got my Diet Coke.
Yeah.
You got your drink. We need the
do.
fire extinguisher.
Oh. We moved the fire extinguisher so it was closer to the action. Okay.
Always have a fire extinguisher handy.
Ripley, are you ready?
Ripley.
You ready?
Okay, so this is my jumper wire that is making the coil hot. In the event that I had to shut it off for some reason, I just disconnect that. Right? Okay,
Okay.
here we go. Cheers.
Here we go. Cheers
To Oscar.
to Oscar.
Alright. Give her a little fuel.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a lot this time because I want this thing to start up fast. Okay? So
Yeah.
here we go. Okay, that didn't happen anywhere near what I wanted it to.
Yeah. Oscar. Okay.
It's not turning over near fast enough. Okay?
Yeah. Okay, so welcome back to day 678 of trying to get this truck to run. Now we're taking the cylinder head off. It's going great. Everything's great.
Well, I don't know. I'm good at things. I have things that I can do.
Well,
I've seen a lot of help wanted signs.
yeah.
Yeah,
Hardee's.
Yeah, Hardee's.
Hardee's.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Or I'm really good, like when we don't fix a car properly, I'm really good at parking it. So I can be I can be a parking lot attendant or something like that.
Like a
I don't know.
valet.
Oh,
Ooh.
valet.
Yeah.
Well, let's see, we're gonna have to.
Have you considered marine biology?
Well, I used to be a marine biologist, but it got in the way of my architecture.
A lot of whales out there.
Right. But I live in Missouri.
Yeah.
I would be a marine biologist, but living in Missouri is posing a problem.
Yeah, you specialized in seawater biology also.
Right.
So,
I didn't really specialize.
seaweed specifically. You wrote a thesis on sea cucumbers, didn't you?
Going to remove the cylinder head. There it's going, right?
I think so. It sounded. Yay!
Hey! I did it!
Oh yeah, there's some grease in that cylinder back there.
Am I clear of the push rods?
Yeah.
Okay.
Come straight forward there. There you go.
Alright, so why is this one so rusty? That hole is super rusty. Okay?
Yeah.
That's the one we have a problem with.
Yeah. So if you missed our first video, Jerry actually rigged up a device to use the grease gun to force that piston down to get it to move down in its bore.
So that's what all the grease is from, sitting up there still.
Yeah. How clean those pistons are, though. That Evapo-Rust.
Yep.
Sweet.
I believe it's this one that's causing all the problems. I'm going to go underneath, undo the connecting rod from below, and I'm going to tap this piston out.
Tap it out through the top.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. So
So there's a pretty good ridge around the... Ooh, ghosts.
Alright, we're all up. Alright, so as you can see, it's not a will it run anymore, it's a what will it take to make it run.
Yeah, it's a what have we gotten ourselves into?
Yep. It wouldn't crank over near good enough to start it up, so we had to tear into it. We took the cylinder head off and I pushed the pistons out, and I got to go put the rod caps and the bearings on to keep all that in order and mark which piston this is. Sometimes the rod bearings on these older vehicles, they won't all be the same size. Sometimes they'll be 10 thousandths smaller or larger, or whatever. They were kind of measured for that specific crank. So you got to make sure you keep the bearings for that rod cap and that cylinder. So
yeah.
So we'll put that back together so we can keep that in order. I'll just take a quick look at all of them here. Like this piston, top ring is stuck, okay. Bottom's okay, oil screw's okay, or the oil ring's okay. The first three pistons, they were pretty decent. Like when I was rotating the motor over, it would rotate with those still connected. So the first three were the ones that were pretty good. Okay, they're not great, especially number one with the ring stuck. This one, the rings aren't stuck. So those two are good, and those did have good compression too. When I stuck my finger in the hole. Now, so here's where we get to the cylinder that was causing problems. Number four, it's got a bunch of rust built up on it right there, and then the ring is stuck, and even the second ring is hard to get to go into the groove, so it's basically stuck out kind of. But it's not too bad really. I mean, I thought it was going to be worse. As hard as it turned over. All right, so this is the really bad one, and this one has a really good chunk of rust on it right there. Okay. Yeah, and it's kind of almost corroded the piston right there too. So, but those rings are completely frozen in there. Yeah. And This is the piston that I had to use the grease on to push it down. So, all right, so that one was a bad one. And also on the bottom of its cylinder bore, it's hard to see it, but there's a pretty good layer of rust underneath the skirt. So where the skirt would have come down in the piston, it was wedging into that. And so this is number 6, and all of its rings are stuck except for the oil ring. It would have, if it hadn't been stuck as bad as it was when we got it running, there's a chance that the rings could have come out once some heat got developed in there.
Yeah, get it warmed up.
Yeah, I mean, we've had that happen numerous times. But okay, so when we start these things, we hope that we can get them going, you know, easily.
Yes.
So that didn't happen on this one. This one we, you know, ended up pulling the head off of it, and we're going to clean up these pistons and clean up the cylinders, put everything back together, and everything will work properly then, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, it just didn't turn over fast enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay? And it would have been a problem anyway when it started up. So I guess this is good. People are going to say, hey, why don't you just pull this stupid straight 6 out of there and put a V8. We got a 5.7 sitting on the floor over there.
Yeah, there's a 350.
We could just throw that in there.
Just
And,
waiting.
it's a lot of work to put a 5.7 in here. Things have to change a lot. But this is not our truck. This is somebody else's. It's a family that wants to hear this thing run and drive it the way their grandfather did and the way his father did.
Yeah.
And so that's what we do. So that's what they want, and we're going to get this straight 6 going, okay?
Yep. Sometimes sentimental value outweighs what's crazy.
Right.
You know?
But I hope you guys stick around and watch the next video on this one. We'll definitely get it going. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. It helps us out a bunch.
Yep.
And go to our merch store and
Yeah.
buy yourself a shirt. Look
Yeah.
good for once.
Yeah, we got stickers.
Stickers? Yeah, put a sticker on your forehead. But I hope you guys stick around for the next video, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.